So in this video we are going to create two APIs for our applications for Cashier. One is delete Cashier and other is update Cashier. So let's deep dive into the controller of Cashier. So we're going to write logic for it. So open the update Cashier function. Here I will remove return nil, and here I will write Cashier ID, which I will get from params. And next I will create a variable Cashier which will map its model of Cashier. So next I will create a query where we'll find a specific Cashier by ID. Here in the first param I will pass a Cashier object, and in the second param I will pass a condition ID which is equals to a Cashier ID. It will replace. Now I'm going to create a validations for a Cashier, either the Cashier ID exists or not in the database. So I will create if condition, if Cashier dot name equals to empty. It means there is no record. I will return the validation error. So c.status for dot JSON fiber map. Here I will pass two keys, success and message. In success it would be false, and message I will pass no Cashier found or Cashier not found. So I have write the validation for name checking, and on the next I will create a new object for update Cashier. The update Cashier, what it does, actually the field which comes from the update, like a postman I requesting for the changed name, it will be picking in the update Cashier. So here I will check the specific fields from body parser, and it will map to the update Cashier. If there is an error, I will catch here. If error not equals to nil, return error. So in the next I am create a condition if Cashier dot name, actually this will check update Cashier name. If it's empty, it means that user have not entered any name from front end side. So I will throw validation here that name is required. You must provide a name to update. And the last I will create a query which will update the record. Here I'm assigning Cashier dot name, which is a database name, to update Cashier name, which is a user entered name. So in the last I am creating a db.db.save, and here I will pass a Cashier object. It will be actually a reference, so as ampersand and Cashier. In the last I will return a message that operation successful with the keys of success and message. I will copy from above validation side, so it will help us to quickly wrap it. So that's it. Here I have did a mistake. I will return 200 instead of 404. So I forgot. You can update there as well. Now I have write the update functions. Now moving towards delete Cashier, and at the end I will test both the endpoints. So similar conditions, I will get the Cashier ID from params, and next I will create a variable Cashier which will be mapping to the model of Cashier. and the next I will run a query where it will checking either the cashier ID exists or not. So for that I will write a query where condition, and here I will pass ID. Cashier ID is the replace with a question mark here. So at end first, and I will pass a cashier object which I have created in the second 138 line, which will mapping a cashier model. So here I will check if cashier.id equals to 0, it means no record, and I will throw validation error there so that cashier is not found or cashier not found. So I am copying the same syntax from above line. Here I will replace success to false and cashier not found. So that's it, and at the end if cashier ID found and the true case, we will run a query db dot actually there is a db dot where I will pass ID like above I have did, where ID equals to cashier ID dot delete. Here I will pass a cashier object. So at the end I will return a status of success to true, and the cashier is deleted successfully message. So that's it. I have first getting the cashier ID from param, and I have created cashier object which will mapping to the model of cashier which contains different fields, and here I have write the query which will execute, and it will check cashier ID and will fetch first record of cashier which will found against specific ID. And actually this query is similar in SQL or MySQL like this: select star from cashier where ID equals to cashier ID, and for first record it could be a limit of 1. So that could be a similar of SQL syntax if you are familiar with MySQL or SQL query. So for your understanding I have demonstrated example here. So let's remove it, and in the next it's if condition, and the last the query runs and it will delete that specific cashier against this ID, and in the last the message is returned. So let's check in the postman. Here I am executing a cashier list to see all cashiers. So in the first there is name Amir Khan and the second Tahir. So let's go to the update cashier to check or API. Here is one thing which you noted: if you put a colon / cashier, it will also be acceptable, or you put a specific cashier ID directly in the URL, it will also be acceptable. So I am hearing colon cashier ID, and here path variable automatically picked it up, and I will picking a wrong ID, it will throws an error cashier not found because it's checking in the database. So in the body I am changing the name Amir Khan to update it, and now here you can check it's Amir Khan. So when it's updated, the name will automatically be updated. So you have noticed there, and let's verify it from the cashier list. You have noticed that the field is updated. So in the delete case, let's check in the delete specific ID. Here I am passing a wrong ID to check the validations. like 1000 and I'm sending, it will throw an error of cashier not found because that ID is not found in the database. So let's put a correct one and it's message success. Let's check in the cashier list and you will see the Amir Khan name will be dropped from the table. So you can check the first record is dropped and now filtering second, third and up to sixth. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching.